There is no charge for awesomeness.
Hi gang, it's Guru Bob and welcome to day 5 of the 30-day challenge. I'm back again to do another Market Samurai video, and this time I'm going to be talking about a new feature that will be released to you today. So when you open up your Market Samurai, it should ask you to update, and after you've updated, you'll find that there's a new module available called Finding Content. Like the SEO competition module, this module is going to be part of the paid modules that will become that will require payment to for you to continue accessing them after 40 days. And it's brand new. It's only just been released. It's still in a very early development stage, but most of the functionality is working, and the Noble Samurai coders have assured me that they're going to clean up any sort of remaining bugs over the next couple of days. But it's so cool, and it offers such great sort of functionality at this stage of the 30-day challenge that we wanted to get it out to you as soon as we could. Because it is relatively new, if you do have any problems or any issues, please raise a ticket on the noblesamurai.com support help page area, and the Noble Samurai guys will get back to you as quickly as they can. But without further ado, let's take a look at the software. Now at this stage in the 30-day challenge, we're on day 5. You should have hopefully found a micro niche key phrase, and within that micro niche there might be several keywords that have passed your traffic and competition criteria. You should have yesterday found an affiliate product to promote if you don't already have a product of your own that relates to your niche. And in finding that product, you should have either signed up for an affiliate program and got an affiliate link, or if you already had an affiliate account, then at least acquired the link to that product. And Dan showed you how to generate a small amount of promotional copy in relation to that product, and to grab a picture. Now today we're going to be looking for content in relation to your micro niche keywords, and we're going to be asking you by the end of the day to have 5 to 10 sort of relatively short articles that you're going to be able to use throughout the remainder of the 30-day challenge to populate both blogs and websites in order to get some ranking for your keyword, and also to build some backlinks that point back to your main ranking vehicle, which you're going to be finding out about on day 6. So this video is just to show you how Market Samurai can help you find content, and Dan will be doing a video on showing you sort of more manual methods for finding content if for whatever reason you haven't been able to get Market Samurai to work for you, or it's not suitable at your location. So I'm going to open up my existing project, which is the guitar project, and our main key phrase, micro niche key phrase, is vintage electric guitar. So at the beginning I want to search for, see if I can find any content that is specifically optimized for, written around the phrase vintage electric guitar. So I'm going to click on Find Content here. And at the beginning, I'm just going to look at Easy Articles, which is the big daddy of article directories, and we're also going to look at Google Blog Search. You may find that there's not very much content on either of those platforms, so you might also add Article City and Technorati. Go Articles is working reasonably well. There are still a few little issues about Go Articles. They tend to be very sensitive about mass searches. So my recommendation is that you only use Go Articles as a last resort if you're unable to find content anywhere else. But I think you'll find that you should be able to find a reasonable amount of content using these other options. And you can click here the maximum number of returns that you want the software to find in relation to those different platforms. And we click on Find Content. Market Samurai will go out and scan those content sources, looking for content that is relevant to our phrase, vintage electric guitar. So you can see that Market Samurai found one easy article which contained or included the phrase vintage electric guitar, and 10 items on Google blog search. Now at this stage we can click on the little down arrow here to have a look and see what exactly has been returned for each content source. So we can either look at easy articles, or we can click on here and look at the items that came back from the Google blog search. Now let's say if we want to explore the article, we seem to have an article with our keyword in the title, which is a good sign. If I click on that, Market Samurai will go and get that article and load that into the interface here, and we can scroll through that article, we can read that, and eventually, certainly with the release that you have, you'll either be able to save out that article as a text file, save it out in HTML format, or copy that text to the clipboard. In the case of both save as text and copy to text to clipboard, all of the HTML will be stripped out. It'll just be plain text, but obviously the HTML version here will include any HTML sort of tags as well. Now, so far, this is fairly sort of standard. I mean, you can do several of these searches, by carefully manipulating the search platforms. But the difference between Market Samurai and doing a manual search is that, having found some content of interest, it's useful to us to find out how much content authority that article actually is. And I define content authority is how many backlinks that content might have, that article has, whether it has any page rank, how old it is perhaps, and also how many times the article has been used by other people and that has now been indexed by Google. So we can actually find it in the Google search returns. Now we can very easily get a sense of that by clicking on the Analyze Article button here on the top right hand corner. And Market Samurai will go out, and it tells us that the article has a page rank of 2, so it's obviously got some authority. It's got 2 backlinks. It was written in 2006, and as far as Market Samurai is concerned, it has found that article 15 times elsewhere on other websites in Google, which means that other e-zine owners or other websites have taken this article from e-zine articles and published onto their website, and that's then been indexed by Google. So Google now finds 15 different occasions where it finds this article. Now I will say from the outset that the Noble Samurai coders have done a reasonable job of trying to do the searches to find out the number of index counts, and it works pretty well for articles. For blogs, however, it's much harder, because the blog has a lot more information on the page other than just the text in relation to the content, and it's much harder for the algorithm to sort of identify unique content which it can then go and see how many times it can find inside the search engines. So certainly for articles, that's a reasonably strong indicator, but for blog posts that might be a little bit harder and a little bit less relevant. But it's still a fairly strong indicator of whether any other website owners have seen any value in this content and have published it on their own websites. And at this stage, that's what we're trying to achieve. So we can at this stage go back to the main sort of listing here, and you can see that content authority information is now being published next to the article. All right, well, there's only one article there. It's a pretty good article. It's obviously reasonably well optimized to our keyword, so that might be an article that we might want to put aside to form some background material or research material when we go out there and prepare our own articles. And Ed is going to be doing a video today which will give you some tips for writing articles based on research material that you might find using the Market Samurai Finding Content module. Now if we have a look at some of the sort of the blog returns here, so this is using Google blog search, and you can see already that it looks like some content here from our own 30-day challenge has already been indexed and found by Google, because it's coming up in the Google blog search. So why don't we go and have a look and see what that is. And indeed it's It seems to be from our forum, and it's definitely a discussion about, looks like it's a discussion about my day one video. Now obviously not being in an article format and only having relatively small amounts of content that are actually keyword specific, probably when we click on Analyze Article, it's going to be much harder for Market Samurai to do an accurate search here, and indeed, you know, it really can't it really can't differentiate that. So if you see it come back 1,000 plus, it means that you know, it thinks that it's found 1,000 references to this. Now that is actually not the case. It's probably that it's using, you know, it's tried to find bits and pieces of content off this forum page here, and it's not particularly unique, and therefore it's found it many times in the Google indexes. But as we would have expected, no PR, no backlinks, and July 2008. So it's relatively new, as we would expect. Now with blog content, of course, we're going to get all sorts of things. We're not going to necessarily get large amounts of content, and indeed for vintage electric guitar we're seeing a lot of listings for people you know, trying to sell vintage electric guitars. Yep. Because blogs don't have a defined format, Market Samurai tries to represent the content in the most efficient way in this interface here. It's removed all the CSS formatting of the blog, and we're getting a lot of the content elements from that blog, and obviously some of the pictures, but you know, it's much less attractive and well formatted as the articles. Nevertheless, there may be some useful content here that you might want to pull aside and save out to a text file or copy to clipboard, which you might want to then compile in a document so that you can use that for your own research. Now obviously in a situation like this, we only have a relatively small amount of content, really only one article, that is optimized for our specific key phrase here, vintage electric guitar. So if you find yourself in that situation where there's only a relatively small amount of content, then obviously you can search on some of these other platforms, and you're welcome to do that. But what you can also do is perhaps go up to a slightly higher level where your keyword's still relevant, but where there might be more likely to be some returns. So I'm going to go up and do a search on vintage guitar, because it's obviously highly related to my main key phrase, vintage electric guitar, and see whether I can find some content on those same platforms which is optimized for that slightly broader keyword. And indeed, this time I found 8 articles in ezine articles, which is obviously much better. We've got an article here about vintage guitar collectors, how to buy a vintage guitar. So someone writing an article about someone that's looking to acquire a guitar, and a guitar about a specific type of an article about a specific type of vintage guitar, Gibson guitar, and about vintage guitar collectors. So there's a whole heap of articles that are very highly related to my niche. Now, I can always click on here and go and look at the article itself, but if I just want to get a sense of the content authority, then I can just click on Analyze Article here, and Market Samurai will go out and get that information. Now, this particular collector's article has been indexed 7 times, so the article's been used on 7 different websites, has no PR and no backlinks, so it's quite old, to 2005, so not a particularly high amount of authority. Now, I don't recommend that you go and click Analyze Article on all of these articles, just the ones that you think might be useful to you. And it's not active in this pre-release version, but eventually you will be able to sort on any of these content headers up here. And as an added bonus, hopefully the release that you will see, there'll be a new column here called PC, which stands for phrase count, and that will tell you how many times your keyword, in this case vintage car, is found in that content. So again, telling you how closely the article is optimized for your target keyword. IC stands for index count, which is the number of times Market Samurai has found that article in the Google index, and then PageRank, backlinks, and age. And by sorting this, you can obviously find the articles that have the highest content authority. And why would we do that? Well, obviously articles that have the highest content authority has a number of confirmations from other website owners that have found that article content valuable to the extent that they've prepared to build backlinks to it and or use it on their own websites. And the higher page rank it has, the more that Google feels that that content has relevant value as well. So the more content authority an article has, or some blog content has, the more useful it might be to you to act as research background for as you write your own articles in this niche. And just before I finish, if we're looking for and searching for articles that have the highest content authority as research, I wonder whether there might be some value in looking also for articles that have the lowest content authority. Might want to have a think about that. There might be some value there. That's it for this video. Your job on this day is to find as much content as you can in relation to your selected micro niche keyword, and ultimately to prepare 5 to 10, 3 to 500 word articles that you're going to be able to use throughout the 30-day challenge on the various web publishing activities that we're going to be showing you how to do. Good luck with that, and I'll talk to you on day 6.
There is no charge for awesomeness.